Happy snow day. So, you guys don't really know any different. It's Ignite. You're online. Everything's the same for you. But this is snow day. This is for tomorrow. This is Red Day, Friday, February 12th. So, hope you're having a good day. Here we go. Whole thing. We are done. Earthquakes and volcanoes. Next unit, next topic, next thing. It's all new, except it's all really old. We're going way back. What is the history of the Earth as a planet with things, people, planets, continents, rocks, everything? Geologic time. Geologic time is what we're going to focus on, and then we're going to narrow it down, and we're going to get into some of the cool stuff. Like most people are interested in, if you're going to look at this stuff, dinosaurs is where you go, right? We're going to start way back, and then I'm going to specifically give you an assignment for tomorrow, and then I'll link it, and it'll all be there ready to go in Canvas. So here's how. Here we go. Geologic time scale. I know it's Wikipedia. Go with me on this. All right. Here we go. The Earth. You know what? Let's forget that. Let's just talk. I used to do astronomy. That's some of my background. This earth science is new to me, so this is interesting. 4.5 billion years old. The sun is 4.5 billion years old, and it's going to live another 4.5 billion years. It's hitting its midlife stride. It's doing its thing. It's living its everyday. The Earth formed very, very, very soon after the sun. It didn't look anything like this. I'm not talking about houses and trees and plants. I'm talking oceans were different. There were no oceans. The continents were different. It was a molten ball of rock and element spiraling around the sun right after it formed 4.5 billion years ago. And it stayed hot and molten and whatever for a very long time. And what we're going to talk about, we're going to begin with the Hadean or the Hadean. The Hadean is a period before there was a fossil record. So this is the time before. So there's history and there's prehistory, like before you can write things down and note all of this stuff when people were alive. The Hadean is before there were fossils. So how do we know any of this? We've got to go through all sorts of other methods. We're going to talk about how we know what we know coming up. We're going to talk about what we know, evidence, when, where, who, what. We're going to get into all of this good stuff. All right. Here we go. Super eon, era, period. Okay. This is 4,500,000,000 years ago. So 4.5 billion years ago. 4 billion, 3.5, 3 billion, 2 billion, 1 billion, 500 million today. And then what happens is now when you zoom in down here, this last little this last little sketch where it's 500 million, it zooms in to that last little eon at 500 million, 400 million, 200 million. And then we zoom in on this last little stretch, 60 million, 50 million, 30 million, 10 million. We're going to zoom in again, 2 million, 1 million. And then we're going to zoom in again, 11,000, 8,000, 3,000 today. So this is just this last little bitty sliver of this one, and this one is the last little bitty sliver of this one, and this one of this one, and this is the last little bitty sliver of this guy right here. Right? Actually, well, I guess this is the biggest one. This one is that whole chunk there. This one going out to 60 is this chunk here. This one goes out to 2.5 is this chunk in here, right? There's a lot of history, and most of it is right here going on. Everything is written is so soon. So you have heard these names probably: Jurassic, Cretaceous, Triassic, Mesozoic, right? Denovian, Cambrian, Precambrian, Paleozoic. What in the world? Super eons, eon, era, period. The Hayden is an eon. And this is before there were fossils, before there was anything. All right. This is all the Precambrian. I don't even know. This is the Earth solidifying and forming. You want to know, so we got to come all the way down into here, which is this orange and purple spot right here, before you start talking about Pangea. So before this, the continents were in different spots, in different places. There wasn't even one. It's because before it collided into one, Pangea, it was other continents in other spots, and then they moved together and collided, Pangea, and then they spread back out. So this is pre-Pangea, all of this stuff. There's a lot of history to Earth. All right. What are some things? Yeah, Pangea is here, 250 million years ago, give or take. The Permian, so you've got a huge extinction that happens here. You've got Pangea starting here in the Permian. This is interesting. The Denovian. Here's one that I found. Ferns. Ferns started in the Denovian. They're some of the oldest plants around. Like if in Jurassic World and all that, if you want a plant that's alive today that you can go buy and keep as a house plant, that's actually one of the first plants to exist, get a fern. They're quite hardy. They live well, right? I don't know. Here we go. There's an interesting thought, and I've got 3 different references here, and this is part of your assignment. We're going to look at these 3 references briefly. They're all the same. What happens when you take 4.5 billion years and say, this is January 1st, and this is December 31st. So this is a year. What happens in July? What happens in August? What happens in September, October, November, December, January? Like, what happens? So here you go. Earth's calendar, all compressed into 1 year. 4.5 billion years. January 1st, Earth is born. It's not till mid-February. So if Earth was born January 1st, 2021, we all celebrated 2020 is over. Today's the 11th. You're receiving this on the 12th. There's no life yet. There's not even single cellular life. Photosynthesis isn't for over a month. Now, multicellular organisms aren't until August, right? Fungi, fish, land plants, insects. And then we get into December. It's not until December you see amphibians and reptiles and mammals. This is crazy. It's not until hominids aren't walking until 11:30 p.m. on December 31st in the history of all of Earth. Right? A minute ago, agriculture's been around for a hot minute. The Industrial Revolution is a whopping 2 seconds old in this scenario. That's according to this website. Let's look at some of here. History of Earth in a month. Let's get down to, here we go. Setting right. Well, I was at the bottom. Yeah. Here we go. January and February is chaotic. Yeah. Wind and rain, barren mountains. All right. This guy's got a weird take. I don't necessarily approve of all his metaphors, but it's fine. February 25th, life springs forth. The first cellular life. When did this one say? February 25th, we get life. So there's this, right? Early November, first plants come out of the ocean and start to be land plants. And we change the atmosphere because when you have plants, you have photosynthesis. And once you have photosynthesis, you actually increase the amount of oxygen. There really wasn't a lot of oxygen in the atmosphere until there were plants. And they exhaled all of this oxygen, which made the atmosphere livable for the animals to come later. It's wild, some of the changes that have happened in Earth's history. All right, November 20th, December 1st. Reptiles, like this version of the exact same thing, table of contents. Um, all right, January 1st, baby Earth. We just got hit. This one talks about the moon because the moon was this other asteroid, was another rock, comes around and smacks into Earth, molten rock and lava, and it spins around and around and around, and it settles down, and the molten rock coalesces, and Earth coalesces, and so we can date some of the rocks on the moon, some of the rocks on the Earth, and say, hey, these hit each other, and there's a connection here, which is kind of wild. All right, traces of water, you know, February 11th. This one talks about different things happening, right? Mid November. But the idea is the exact same. Your assignment's pretty simple. I'll write this out. So if you're not listening, it's fine. Find your birthday. Tell me what happened on your birthday in the compressed year. That's it. Guys, we're going to learn a lot. It's geologic timescale. We're going to learn about the who, what, where, when. We're going to see all sorts of animals and how things have changed, where the continents were, how we know this. Can you carbon date all the way back to here? No. So how do we know it? What are the limitations of all the things we use? What do we know? How do we know it? And what are some of the cool highlights along the way? Everybody have a great snow day, and I will catch up with you next time.